Today I'm going to talk about why it's critical to be open-minded to maintain a functional society. I'm going to do this by naming multiple examples, and those examples will include things you see in your everyday life that are closed-minded, how Apollo 11 got to the moon, what that must have taken, a German 24-year-old YouTuber called Rezo, bullying, and cyberbullying. Have you ever been on the S-Bahn or U-Bahn and someone just slightly brushes past you and they make an exasperated noise or snarky comment? It's being quite close-minded because they assume that it's your fault that you two collided. It's also close-minded to assume the worst in someone. They assume that you aren't looking where you're going, and they also assume that it's your fault. Did you know it didn't just take 100, 10K, 1,000. It took 400,000 people to get Apollo 11 to the moon. And that must have taken a lot of people to be being open-minded towards their coworkers, because they must have been able to accept the fact that maybe they were wrong sometimes. Because if one of them were to make a mistake, maybe those 3 people may have never made it to the moon. Has anyone here ever heard of Rezo? Raise your hands if you have. Right. Rezo is a German YouTuber who released a video titled Die Zerstörung der CDU. Translated is, that is, the destruction of the CDU. And what he says in the video is that the CDU has let wealth gaps increase over the past 16 years. He also says that Germany has let the US control drone strikes from Ramstein Air Base. And also that the CDU weren't exactly super open to the idea of students protesting on Friday and striking school. The way the CDU reacted to this comment or to this video by Rezo was also close-minded though, because AKK, or Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, said that maybe there should be different social norms to the real world and the digital world. In my opinion, that is absurd. Because when you think about it, the real world is feeding to the digital world the whole time. The real world is like the digital world. YouTube, for example, is someone performing something in front of an audience, like this talk. The way the public, though, reacted to AKK's comment was also close-minded. The public said that she should resign her post, and this was because of this one comment. This was close-minded because they assumed her political stance to be for state-controlled media. And this was just a chain of closed-minded reactions, and they showed you exactly how not to react when someone's closed-minded towards you, when someone criticizes you. But people being closed-minded isn't just in politics. You can look at it by looking at bullying and things like that. Bullying is not what I'm going to talk about. Bullying is a type of being closed-minded towards other people, most of the time for something they don't even control, like race, ethnicity, what they look like, who they are, things like that. When you criticize someone, what Rezo did, you tell them you're doing this, and this wrong, but you can improve by doing this, and this. When you bully someone, your motivation is to hurt them mentally or physically. And you hurt them because you're being closed-minded and you're not accepting who that person is. Did you know 2 from 10 people have admitted to being bullied, 3 from 10 people have admitted to bullying, and 7 out of 10 people have admitted to witnessing bullying? In my opinion, those numbers are way too high because no one should be bullied for any reason whatsoever. Because in the end, we're all just human. The solution is super simple. Don't hurt people for something they don't control. At least I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to talk about a subpart of bullying, which is cyberbullying. And new ways have turned up to neglect your duty to be open-minded. And those new ways are online. Because people are more open to the idea of bullying people online because A, you're doing it verbally, and B, you're hiding your identity. You're doing it on the internet, which doesn't always show who you are. Let me paint a picture of 2 communities. In the first community, everyone is closed-minded. Everyone's sort of a bully. Everyone is mean. No one wants to admit that they're wrong. That doesn't sound like a great place to live. But let me paint a picture of a second community. In the second community, everyone is open-minded. Everyone is nice. There are no conflicts. Those conflicts would be resolved immediately, even if there was to be one, because everyone's open-minded and can admit that they're wrong, can accept criticism. Obviously, these two communities couldn't exist because we'd have to change the way people think. But the point I'm trying to make is, in the first community, they'd still be in the Stone Ages because they wouldn't have been able to work together to get any further. But the second community would be way ahead of us because they would have been able to avoid conflicts that would have stopped the progress of the human society. I think what's super important to be open-minded, you have to be empathetic. Being empathetic, or empathy, is when you put yourself in someone else's shoes, when you feel how they're feeling, and you make sure that they know you feel how they're feeling. And if you're open-minded, you're empathetic, but also vice versa. If you're empathetic, you're open-minded. And these two need each other to be one or the other. I have a quote that I think quite perfectly sums up what I'm trying to say here. Fast alone, far together. If you want to go fast, go alone. There'll be no one that will challenge your decision, your short-term success, but the foundations you have built won't be as solid as if you'd gone together. If you go together, you'll have built everything you've done with other people, and the things that you've built will be a lot stronger because you've built it with other people. In conclusion, let me ask you a question. Do you want to live in a world where people are closed-minded in a daily routine? Or do you want to live in a world where people are open-minded in a daily routine? Do you want to live in the first community or the second community? I know that I will be more open-minded after holding this talk, because I learned a lot from it, doing research and things like that, and I hope all of you will too. Thank you.